Okay, get this. You're spelunking in Spain, right? And bam, you find a cave. But it's not just any cave. It's packed with the bones of a whole Neanderthal family.
Wow.
It happened back in 1994 at Sidron Cave, and we are diving deep into their lives today.
Sounds fascinating.
We've got a Wikipedia article and a summary document you sent over to guide us, so
Great.
let's get started. Right off the bat, the Wikipedia article mentions something called the Ossuary Gallery. They also call it the Tunnel of Bones, which honestly sounds kind of creepy.
Yeah.
What is that exactly, and why is it such a big deal?
Well, that's where they found the remains of at least 13 Neanderthals, all jumbled up together.
Oh, wow.
3 men, 3 teenage boys, 4 women, and 3 infants. It's like a snapshot of their whole community frozen in time 49,000 years ago.
Wow, a whole family. How'd they all end up in that one spot? That doesn't seem like a natural way to go.
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
I mean, the way their bones are mixed up with all that gravel and mud, it's pretty clear they didn't die there naturally. Researchers have a few theories. A flash flood, maybe, sweeping them into the gallery, or a cave collapse, trapping them inside.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to say for sure.
Those are already pretty dramatic, but the article mentions something even crazier, cannibalism. Is there anything to back that up?
Well, there are marks on the bones themselves, cut marks and damage that looks like it came from tools.
Yeah.
It points to the possibility that they were butchered, which, it's a tough thing to think about, but researchers are looking into it.
I can imagine. That adds a whole other layer of mystery to this whole thing. But let's switch gears for a second and talk about one individual who really stood out to me, Sidron J1, this young Neanderthal. What's so special about him?
Well, the amazing thing about Sidron J1 is how well preserved his remains are. It gives us this rare chance to really study Neanderthal development up close.
Oh.
By looking at his teeth, researchers figured out he was somewhere between 7 and 8 years old when he died.
Okay, that makes sense, but why is that such a big deal?
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. They also found that his brain was still growing. It was only about 87% the size of an average adult Neanderthal brain. Now think about modern human kids. By 7 or 8, their brains are basically done cooking, almost 95% of adult size.
So you're saying Neanderthals maybe matured slower than us? Why would that be?
That's a great question, and there are a lot of theories floating around. It could be differences in brain development, how energy is used during childhood, or even environmental stuff. They actually found more evidence of this slower development in his vertebrae, too.
Wow. Makes you wonder what it was like to be a Neanderthal kid.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked bones, but what about genes? What kind of secrets are hiding in the DNA of our ancient relatives?
Ancient DNA. It's like unlocking a whole nother level of understanding. One of the most exciting discoveries from Sidron Cave came in 2007 when scientists found that some of the Neanderthals there, get this, shared the same mutations in the FOXP2 gene as modern humans.
Hold on. Why is that FOXP2 gene so important? I've never even heard of it.
Well, in modern humans, the FOXP2 gene is super important for speech and language. It's even sometimes called the language gene. So finding the same mutations in Neanderthals, opens up a whole can of worms about their language abilities.
So were they having full-on conversations around a fire 49,000 years ago?
It's not that simple. The FOXP2 gene is really complex, and just because they share some mutations doesn't automatically mean they talked like us. There are tons of other factors involved in how language develops.
So it's more like we've opened a door to a new possibility, but we need to figure out what's inside.
Exactly, and this is where research is headed. Speaking of DNA discoveries, though, there's another one from Sidron Cave that's even crazier. They managed to sequence a complete Neanderthal Y chromosome from one of the specimens.
Oh, wow. Okay, what's so special about this Y chromosome?
The crazy thing is that this particular Y chromosome, it doesn't exist in modern humans at all. It suggests that this specific Neanderthal lineage didn't contribute to our ancestry.
Wait, so does that mean Neanderthals and Homo sapiens never interbred? Because I thought there was proof they did.
It's important to remember we're talking about specific lineages here. So this Y chromosome might have died out, but that doesn't change the fact that Neanderthals and Homo sapiens did interbreed. Most modern humans actually carry a tiny percentage of Neanderthal DNA.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like putting together a puzzle, and each discovery gives us a few more pieces.
Right.
But speaking of uncovering secrets, the article mentions something about getting DNA from dirt. How is that even possible?
You're talking about this amazing study from 2017 where researchers sequenced Neanderthal DNA straight from the cave dirt. It's totally changing the way we study the past.
Wow, that's incredible. So even if there aren't any bones, their DNA can just hang out in the soil for thousands of years.
Pretty much. It's like they leave genetic fingerprints in the earth. And caves like Sidron, they're perfect for preserving this ancient DNA.
So what can we learn from this soil DNA? What's the point?
Well, we can identify individuals even without any bones. We can figure out how they're related and even track their movements over time by analyzing the DNA in different parts of the cave.
That's mind-blowing. It's like CSI, but for prehistory.
Yeah, exactly. It opens up so many possibilities.
This is all so fascinating, but hold on. Before we go any further, I gotta know, what did these Neanderthals eat? Were they big meat eaters like we always picture?
That's actually one of the biggest surprises from Sidron Cave. The 2017 research, it showed that they were mostly vegetarian, eating things like pine nuts, moss, and mushrooms.
Wait, really? Mushrooms and moss? That's so different from the image of them hunting mammoths with spears.
I know, right? It really challenges our assumptions.
Yeah.
What it tells us is that the Neanderthals in this area were super adaptable. They knew how to use all kinds of food sources, depending on their environment.
So less about strictly meat or plants, more about being opportunistic and making do with what they had.
Exactly. Being flexible like that probably helped them survive in different environments for thousands of years.
This is incredible. We've learned so much already about their family, how they grew up, their genes, what they ate. Who knew a cave in Spain could hold so many secrets?
And there's more to come.
This has been an awesome journey so far, and I can't wait to see what other mysteries we unravel as we keep going. But let's take a break. Let all this amazing info sink in. We'll be right back with more insights into the lives of the Sidron Cave Neanderthals. Okay, we're back, and I gotta say I'm still kind of stuck on those Neanderthals munching on moss and mushrooms.
It's pretty wild.
It really changes how you picture them.
I know. It's amazing how these new discoveries can just turn our old ideas on their heads. We always think of Neanderthals as these hardcore meat eaters, but Sidron Cave shows us there's way more to the story.
Totally. Speaking of more to the story, the article mentioned some interesting things about their physical features, too.
Oh, yeah.
Did anything in particular jump out at you?
Yeah, their morphology, their physical form is super interesting. Like, they had all the classic Neanderthal traits, but some things were kind of on the fringes of what we normally see.
Okay, I'm all ears. What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, their mandibles, their lower jaws are a good example. Researchers have noticed this pattern linked to geography. So the Sidron Neanderthals, being from the north of the Iberian Peninsula, have these subtle differences from Neanderthals found down south.
So even within Neanderthals, there were like regional differences.
Right.
What would cause that?
A few things, maybe. It could be adaptations to different environments, like slightly different food sources. Or it could be genetic drift, where small changes in genes just happen over time, especially in isolated groups.
That makes sense. Kind of like how different groups of people today have developed unique features over generations. Okay, let's loop back to something we talked about earlier, the FOXP2 gene.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still super curious about what it could tell us about how Neanderthals communicated.
It's one of the most fascinating parts of this whole puzzle. Like we said, this gene is key for how we develop speech and language. And the fact that some of those Sidron Neanderthals had the same mutations in this gene as us, it opens up so many questions.
But you also said we got to be careful about how we interpret those results.
Right.
Can you explain why?
Sure. So the FOXP2 gene, it's incredibly complicated, and we're still learning about everything it does. Those shared mutations are definitely interesting. They might suggest Neanderthals had complex language, but it's not proof.
Gotcha.
There could be other genetic or environmental things involved that we haven't even discovered yet.
So it's a step in the right direction, but not the whole picture.
Exactly. And that's where new research and new technology comes in. We're always refining our understanding of genetics and how it impacted our evolution. Who knows what we might uncover in the future? Something that sheds even more light on Neanderthal communication.
That's what makes this whole field so exciting. Always new discoveries.
Okay.
Got to bring up that Y chromosome again. It still blows my mind that that specific lineage is gone in modern humans. So does that really mean those Sidron Neanderthals didn't breed with our Homo sapien ancestors at all?
Not necessarily. Remember, we're talking about very specific lineages. So this particular Y chromosome lineage may be extinct, but that doesn't mean other Neanderthal populations didn't contribute to our genes.
Ah, okay. So it's more like one little branch of the Neanderthal family tree,
Right.
and other branches may have gotten tangled up with their own.
That's a great way to put it. Human evolution, it's incredibly complex, and new evidence pops up all the time that adds more layers to the story.
It's like piecing together this giant, messy family photo album.
Hmm.
Okay, let's switch gears again and go back to that mind-blowing discovery of extracting DNA from soil samples. That's some serious sci-fi stuff.
I know, right?
Can you walk us through how that even works and why it's such a big deal?
It's a total game changer. So even when there aren't any bones or teeth, little pieces of DNA can stick around in the sediment, like in the layers of goot in Sidron Cave. Over time, DNA from skin cells, hair, even waste products, it can get trapped in the soil and stay there.
So the cave itself is holding on to their genetic memory.
Exactly. And then scientists, they carefully collect these soil samples and use all sorts of techniques in the lab to separate the DNA. They got to be super careful to avoid contaminating it with any modern DNA.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to accidentally sequence the DNA of a curious scientist instead of a Neanderthal, right?
Exactly. And once they've got that ancient DNA isolated, they use something called polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, to basically make millions of copies of it so they have enough to analyze.
Wow.
It's really incredible what they can do.
Okay, what kind of information can they get from that copied DNA?
Tons of stuff. We can tell what species were present even without finding any bones. We can compare the DNA from different individuals and see how they were related. Were they siblings, cousins, parents, and children? It can even show us how those populations moved around and interacted over time.
So it's not just about who was there, but how they were connected and how they actually lived.
Precisely. It adds this whole other dimension to how we understand the past.
That's just amazing. This is all so fascinating, but I gotta admit, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
And my brain's feeling a little full. Can we just take a second to recap what we've learned so far?
Absolutely. We've been diving deep into the world of the Sidron Cave Neanderthals. This group of at least 13 individuals living about 49,000 years ago.
Right.
Their accidental discovery has really given us a glimpse into what Neanderthal life was like, and it's challenged a lot of our old assumptions.
And one of the biggest surprises is their diet. They weren't just those hardcore meat eaters we always picture.
Right.
They were adaptable, eating all kinds of plant-based foods depending on what was available. Pine nuts, moss, mushrooms, the whole deal.
Exactly. And their genetics, that's where things get really interesting. They share some striking similarities with us, like those FOXP2 gene mutations that hint at the possibility of complex language.
Right, but they also had those distinct lineages, like that unique Y chromosome, showing us that some branches of the Neanderthal family tree just didn't contribute to our ancestry.
Yeah, and then there's that mind-blowing DNA extraction from soil samples. It's letting us go even deeper into their history and how they were all connected.
The Sidron Cave Neanderthals have shown us that human evolution, it's way more complex and nuanced than we ever thought.
For sure.
It's been an incredible journey so far. But there's one question that's been bugging me this whole time. How did they end up in that ossuary gallery in the first place?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's a mystery that's still stumping researchers. And the answer, it might be more complex than we think. We'll dig into the different theories and what evidence supports them when we continue our deep dive into the Sidron Cave Neanderthals.
We're back, and I'm ready to tackle the biggest mystery we've got surrounding the Sidron Cave Neanderthals. How did a whole family wind up in that ossuary gallery? It's been bugging me this whole time.
Yeah, it's a question that's had researchers scratching their heads for years, and there's no simple answer.
Right.
But let's break down the different theories, starting with the most intense one. Cannibalism.
Okay, I have to say, the thought of Neanderthals eating each other, that's pretty wild.
It is.
But is there really enough evidence to support that?
Well, the bones tell a pretty clear story. They've got cut marks, percussion damage, and other signs that point to them being butchered. It's not the kind of stuff you'd see from natural processes like decomposition or animal scavenging.
So it's possible these Neanderthals were, and I don't know a better way to put it, eating each other. But why, though?
I know, it's a really hard concept to wrap our heads around from a modern perspective. But cannibalism, it's not always about violence or aggression. There are historical examples, across different cultures where it was practiced as part of rituals or even like as a way to survive when times are really tough.
That makes sense. We can't just judge the past by our standards today.
Yeah.
So, with the Sidron Neanderthals, are there any clues about what might have driven them to cannibalism?
Not really, unfortunately. That's the thing about archaeology. The record is often incomplete. We can see those butchering marks on the bones, but figuring out the motivations behind them, that's way harder. It's a mystery that maybe more research will help us solve someday.
Like a prehistoric cold case.
Exactly.
Okay, so cannibalism is one possibility. What are some of the other theories about how they ended up in the Ossuary Gallery?
Another possibility is a natural disaster. Remember, the Ossuary Gallery, it's deep inside this complicated cave system, so maybe a flash flood trapped them in there, or even a cave collapse.
Yeah, that sounds possible, especially with how their bones were all mixed in with gravel and mud, like something sudden and catastrophic just happened.
Right, and here's another interesting thing. They found very few tools with the remains, which tells us that the Ossuary Gallery, it wasn't really where they lived or did their day-to-day stuff. Maybe it was a place they went to escape a storm. Or maybe it was where they intentionally or accidentally disposed of bodies, you know?
So lots of questions, but not a lot of clear answers.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what makes archaeology so cool, right?
Absolutely. It's like trying to put together a puzzle with missing pieces, you know?
Totally.
But every new discovery, every piece of evidence, it brings us closer to understanding the past. Even when we don't have all the answers, just asking the questions, exploring those possibilities, that's what keeps us going.
This whole deep dive, it's been a real eye-opener. We've learned so much about these Sidron Cave Neanderthals, their family, how they developed, their genes, what they ate, the mysteries around how they died. What would you say are the biggest takeaways from all of this?
I think the most important thing we've learned is that Neanderthals, they weren't those primitive, dumb brutes we often think of them as. They were complex, they were adaptable, resourceful humans who lived right here on this planet alongside our own ancestors.
Right. We've seen that they could change their diet to match their environment. They might have even had complex language, and they even interbred with Homo sapiens, leaving their mark on our DNA.
Exactly. And even though we don't know exactly how they died, the evidence suggests it was sudden and dramatic. Whether it was a natural disaster or something else, their story reminds us just how fragile life is and how powerful nature can be.
It's been an amazing journey through time. I feel like I've gained this whole new appreciation for Neanderthals. But I'm also left wondering what other secrets are out there, just waiting to be uncovered.
That's the beauty of science. It's this constant search for knowledge. Who knows what mind-blowing discoveries are waiting for us in the future? Maybe someday we'll have even more puzzle pieces, you know? And that'll let us paint an even clearer picture of the lives of these Sidron Cave Neanderthals, how they fit into our shared human history.
I can't wait to see what the future holds. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the past. We hope you've learned a thing or two and that you'll keep exploring the amazing world of archaeology and paleontology. Until next time, keep digging for knowledge.